This time on Beat Up Builds, we're changing my water pump and fixing the bypass valve. Welcome back, everybody. If you tuned in last time, we altered my bypass valve because my intake air temperature sensor was in totally the wrong location. So we altered that, and I noticed the 90-degree elbow is sucking closed. So I bought a better one, and I also had a coupler I made that wasn't out of anything that ever had any business being pressurized or vacuum applied to it. So I got something else I can cut down to make a coupler out of. So that's one thing I'm going to do. And then we also noticed, well, at least I noticed, my water pump is just starting to drip a little bit and weep. So there's a weep hole on the bottom of your, or maybe it's on the top, either the top or the bottom, there's a weep hole in the water pump, and it'll start weeping first. And, generally when it's about to, fail or whatever, it'll start weeping very gently first. And you'll find a couple drips, and that's what we're seeing right now. And yeah, we're going to solve that problem with a new water pump. The last one made it 10 years, 50,000 miles, 60,000 miles, something like that. It was an Aisin water pump, but this one definitely is from Japan. And let me show you. So check this out. I got the Aisin water pump because the Japanese one usually pretty good. I don't remember the last one having all this authenticity stuff on it. So like it's got a little sticker there, like a special shiny sticker to show that it's legit. Maybe my last one wasn't legit, I don't know. And then to me, this means more than the sticker, is they have Japanese writing on one side. They do have American on the other side, obviously. And they tell you stuff, I don't know. Tell you all sorts of stuff. Get a nice gasket, that's kind of normal. But to me, those two things really show that it's the proper part. I don't know if the last one was, or if this is something new that they're doing. They also put it on the water pump, which is pretty cool. Just thought I'd share that. And let me show you the weep hole real quick. If I can get this thing out. There. So right there is your weep hole. I think that's actually on the top. Oh wait, there's one on the bottom. I stand corrected. It's on both sides. So basically what'll happen is it'll start weeping out of the hole. Once the bearing clearances open up, then I guess the gasket will fail, or the seal back here will fail slowly, and then it'll leak. If you know exactly, if you have a better description than that, I'd love to hear it, how that works. I just know if they start leaking out of there, you want to replace it. So yeah, this is the legit, real deal one. The casting is a little rough, honestly, but everything machined looks good. The blades look good. So yeah, let's install that. I think I'm going to also do a second video and do a how-to video on how to replace the water pump, just to boost my subscribers and views and stuff. I think that'll be a good little video if somebody's searching for that. So I'll probably kind of film it. I'll probably use a lot of the footage I'm doing now, and then also film some little segments and just make a nice short and sweet video on how to install it. So there's this band that practices in my neighborhood somewhere, like a couple houses down, and they're really good, actually, from what I can hear from my house. I don't know if you guys can hear the band. If I get enough subscribers, I should ask them if they want to do music. So they're really good. I'd love to get, I feel like at 800 subscribers, it'd be kind of like embarrassing to ask them to use their music. I don't know. I feel like I need a little more backing than that before I go asking. But I think if we get enough subscribers, I'd really like to just go down there and say, hey, do you want to do a couple songs? Or do you have some original songs, and I'll give them credit? I think that'd be a pretty cool way to, like community get together, and I don't know, be a cool way to have some cool music instead of just stock YouTube music that I usually use. So anyway, let's get back to the truck. I just always wanted to tell you guys about that. All right, the next step is you want to get all the coolant out of here. Drain your whole system out. You could potentially drain it like most of the way too if you want. It didn't have a big enough bucket, but I'm just going to drain all mine out. I'm not sure what it looks like. Easiest way to do that is usually there's a drain petcock under here. You just unscrew it and it starts coming out of there. If you don't have one of those, just pull the lower radiator hose. It's going to make a mess everywhere, but that's how you have to do it. Sometimes they don't always have a petcock like this one does. The factory Toyota one does have a petcock, or at least all that I've seen. You just give her one of these. This one seems like it wants to come out. That's not normal. Okay, it's not coming out that much. I'm gonna pop the radiator cap off. Good thing I picked this bucket. It's going right back into this lid and then going in. 5-gallon bucket should be plenty. If you have a car or something, oil drain pan will work, but then you'll have oil in it if you if you go to reuse it. So keep that in mind, or clean it out if you have to use an oil drain pan. And that's pretty much it. That's how you drain it, and we'll move on to the next step. So I was a little stupid. I pulled my petcock all the way out. I should have just loosened it and then took my radiator cap off. My radiator cap was really sealing this very well. So yeah, don't take the petcock out. And then real quick, if you have a Toyota radiator, this is actually the stock one. It filled up with rust and stuff. I saved it in case I wanted to rebuild it, but that's what the petcock looks like. So you just unscrew this. Well, actually it's already unscrewed, but you just unscrew that and then it'll come down this cool hose. Very good thought from the factory. So let me show you what I'm gonna take out, and then I'm gonna time lapse it so you don't have to look at it. My engine is a little different than a stock one, but pretty much all this is gonna apply as well. So you're gonna take your intake tube off. The stock one's pretty similar. It's just plastic. Take that off, get it out of the way. You're gonna wanna take all your belts off, and then I'm gonna give you a tip. That's the water pump, the fan, it bolts on that normally. So what I would recommend, before you take any belts off, take a 10mm open end wrench, loosen all 4 of those nuts. You can use the belts to help hold it. At least get them loose. You don't have to take the fan off just yet, but crack them all loose. You're gonna thank me for telling you to do that. It makes it a lot easier, because otherwise if you take the belt off, that spins free and you got to try and hold it with something, and your life's a living hell. So do that. I'm going to pull the radiator. I'm pretty sure you have to do that on the stock one, or it's just a heck of a lot easier. I think the shroud, you might be able to leave the shroud on, take the fan off, and pull the radiator fan and shroud all out in one go. So that's pretty much what I'm going to do. I'm also going to remove my battery. It just makes taking the supercharger belt off easier. I don't think you have to do that for the stock motor, although it may not be a bad idea to disconnect your battery so it doesn't start for some reason while you're working on it and mangle your fingers. Safety disclaimer, I guess. But I'm going to do that stuff right now, and I'm going to time lapse it. Alright guys, I got it all apart. Probably squirt a little black on there and there, just to touch that up. I gotta scrape the gasket. It's kind of gross in there. If you remember, I was stupid and I lived in Florida for a few years, and I think I ran straight water, and my block's really rusty now. I flushed it a bunch, but it's still really brown inside. Ultimately, I think that's what did in the pump. I think just all the crap in there wore it out. The blades don't look too bad, but if you look on the edge here, it's like worn on the edge. It's kind of weird. And when it was bolted on, I could move this up and down a little bit. So I think just the junk in there wore out the seal and the bearing and all that. And that's why it only lasted 10,000 miles, or 10 years, 50,000 miles is about what I got on it. So I did pretty good. This one says Aisin at least. I don't know if it's quite the same as this one. Guess we'll take a peek. How close does that look? See, this one doesn't have like the cool cast thing with the sticker like this one has. But I think the Aisin's in about the same place and all that. It's got this doohickey up here. It probably was an Aisin one. I think they just put a little more authenticity stuff on there to, I don't know, keep the China ones out of business. So let's clean up the gasket surface. Yay. And actually, I'm probably gonna paint these real quick. I want to paint these brackets. That was part of the reason of taking this out. Just so they don't get rusty. We got winter coming up and everything. They're pretty thick, but I'm just gonna paint them black and put them back, as Lucky would say. I got the water pump installed and my brackets are painted over here. I ran the heater. I haven't been running the heater yet. I'm trying to get used to the cold, but I figured it would help cure these parts quicker and maybe I could get them back on tonight. Maybe I can get this thing reassembled by tonight. We'll see. So I think while everything's apart and off and there's room, I'm going to try and tackle this elbow, put the new one on, and then put the new coupler in there. And hopefully that elbow won't squish closed and everything work better. All right, I got the new 90 on. It does seem stiffer, I feel like. And there's, see all that reinforcement stuff in there? There's a little bit in here, but not quite as much. Where'd that go? The only unfortunate thing is I bought this for the coupler, but by the time I cut off of this one, I had this and this left. So I actually didn't even need that. But anyway, whatever. We got some nice tubing in here. This one was actually $6 and this was like $20. So I'm hoping that it's better quality, hopefully. I could put a spring in here. I just really don't want to. I'm afraid it could go in and touch the supercharger and do a lot of damage. So I don't want to do that, but maybe I will if I have to. So let's reinstall this, and then we can put all the stuff back on. My brackets should be dry. Put those back on. Let's hit it. I gotta clean my hands because I want to touch these painted parts, and I don't want to get them all greasy and disgusting. I've always been a big fan of Gojo. Everybody seems to be. But I found this goop stuff. I've seen it before, but this goop stuff works fantastic, and I wanted to show you. I mean, my hands are not very clean. It's I don't know, they call it a waterless cleaner. So it seems like the best, or what you're supposed to do, is rub some on, and then wipe it off with a paper towel. And then it kind of leaves like it feels like you're putting lotion on or something once you're done. Like it feels like you're moisturized. So I like to kind of just wash my hands after, just to get rid of that lotion feeling. But like if you had to, you know, like if you're on the side of the road or something and you clean your hands and wipe them off the paper towel, it wouldn't be too bad. It just feels like lotion. So it wouldn't be too bad to hop back in the car and go for a drive. Your hands are clean. I don't know if you can see what's going on here, it like melts the grease. I don't know how to explain it. I've seen it do it to paint too. If it's dry, it doesn't always do it to paint, but if it's like relatively fresh, I've seen it take spray paint off. I'm actually really impressed. It's cheap. I get it at the grocery store. I don't know, I figured I'd share. So, looks pretty gross. Grab a paper towel, and then it all comes off on the paper towel here. I mean, I don't know, that's pretty good. Obviously, I didn't do under my fingernails, but it's clean. It just melts the grease off. I don't know. I was amazed the first time I used it. I highly recommend that product. I guess, I feel like it's been around forever. I don't know how Gojo became this popular product, or maybe it worked better at one point. Gojo, I'd still be sitting there like scrubbing and, you know, scrubbing the pumice stuff into my hand and like, I don't know. That doesn't have any pumice. There's no pumice in there. Cleans it right off. So I don't know. I just wanted to share that with you guys. That's a good product. Pick it up. It lasts a long time. I got my brackets all mounted. They were cured really nicely. They weren't tacky in the slightest. So that worked out really well. I think I put them in front of the heater and it's probably been like 2 hours, I would say tops. And they're totally dry. So that was awesome. It's nice. They're a little funky, the brackets, but it's nice that I have painted nice brackets for my fan. It's solid. This thing isn't going anywhere. So I'm really happy about that. Let's put this thing back in and start reassembling. It's 2 a.m. Everything's done now. The water pump's changed. It's not leaking. I topped off the coolant. The new pipes are in there for the bypass valve. Now, it is still crushing under vacuum, but not as much. So I may need to get rid of the PVC, because that's honestly, it goes, it starts as 1.25 inches, and then once it gets into the bypass valve, it goes to 1 inch, and then actually the inside of the PVC is 3/4 because it's so thick. So maybe getting rid of the PVC would solve that issue. I'm not sure. Right now, it's good to go. I'm going to take it for a drive in the morning, see what happens, see how it is, and then I'll report back to you guys, let you know what I think. It's been a couple days. The water pump's working out great. Obviously, I thought that'd be fine. This elbow is squishing still. The nicer elbow really isn't making a difference. I think it's just sucking. Honestly, I think what it is necking down so far with that PVC. It's kind of like if you get a piece of ice stuck in your straw, you know, it doesn't want to suck, and the straw wants to collapse. I think that's kind of the concept of what's going on here. I think that PVC is necking it down too much. I don't know if I should, maybe I should go to this 1.25 inches. I could use a piece of this red tube as like a bushing on the bypass valve side to step it up, and on the intake side to step it up. And then I have plenty of straights. I think I would just need a 45 degree. I have a 90, so I can 90 out of the bypass into a 45, and then some straight into the intake tubing. And then really the only restriction would be at the bypass valve and the intake tube, which the bypass valve I can't make bigger. The intake tube I don't want to make bigger, so maybe that's the solution, or maybe I just replace the PVC. I don't know. I just want it to go away. I'm leaning towards this. If you guys have any opinions on that, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear some insights. Maybe somebody's an engineer or something, or knows things about stuff. But I think I have the general concept behind, with the straw sucking closed. I think that's basically what's going on. So like, comment, subscribe. That's all I've got for this week. I'm out of time. I'll see you guys next week. We'll see what we can fix next week, or what kind of trouble we can get into. I don't know what's planned. We'll see.